cinematic nutshell here. Today, I'm going to break down a science fiction psychological thriller called 10 Cloverfield Lane. Spoilers ahead. The film begins in New Orleans, where Michelle, a fashion designer, is packing her belongings in a hurry. She leaves behind her keys and an engagement ring, hinting at a recent fallout. Driving out of the city, her mind is filled with worry and regret. Stopping at a gas station, Michelle notices a suspicious truck parked behind her car. She chooses to ignore it and continues driving. While on the road, her ex-fiancé, Ben, calls, pleading for her to return. Distracted and uninterested, Michelle refuses to engage. As she tunes into the radio, a news report announces a massive power outage in the city due to an unexplained surge. Moments later, Ben calls again, but before Michelle can answer, something slams into her car, causing it to flip off the road. Michelle awakens in a concrete room, her leg chained to the wall and visibly injured. The dim room hums with the sound of power surges, flickering ominously. Panicked and confused, she struggles to remove the shackles, but fails. Refusing to succumb to fear, Michelle spots her phone across the room. Using an IV pole, she skillfully retrieves it, only to find it has no signal. Suddenly, she hears heavy footsteps approaching. Michelle hides under a blanket, trembling as the door opens. A burly man named Howard enters, carrying food and wearing a gun on his belt. Michelle begs for mercy, but Howard ignores her pleas and adjusts her IV bag. He explains that he saved her life and intends to keep her alive. Handing her a pair of crutches, he suggests she practice walking. Michelle pretends to have outside connections, bluffing that her fiancé will come looking for her. Howard confidently dismisses her claim, insisting that no one is searching for her. Before leaving, he tosses her the key to her chains. Once free, Michelle wastes no time. She dresses quickly and tests the locked door. Determined to escape, she sharpens the end of a crutch into a weapon. To draw Howard back, she lights a fire in her shirt to trigger the fire alarm. Waiting for him by the door, she launches an ambush when he enters. However, Howard overpowers her, injecting a sedative into her arm. Michelle awakens back in her room where a meal has been left for her. Howard praises her spirit but warns her to be grateful. He explains that a catastrophic event, possibly nuclear, has rendered the outside world uninhabitable. Michelle, still skeptical, thanks him while insisting she needs a hospital. This angers Howard, who claims the air outside is poisoned and survival might take years. He firmly states that everyone outside is likely dead, including her family. Later, Michelle hears noises from elsewhere in the bunker. Howard locks her in before addressing the sound. Hours later, she finds the door open and ventures into the hallway. There, she meets Emmett, a young man with an injured arm. Emmett explains that he willingly entered the bunker after witnessing the chaos outside. Unlike Michelle, he believes Howard's story about contamination. Howard rejoins them, scolding Emmett for causing a ruckus. To distract them, he gives a tour of the bunker, showcasing the supplies and entertainment amenities, including DVDs and books. He lays down strict rules, such as a no-touch policy for his belongings. Howard shows Michelle the only bathroom in the bunker, which is within his private quarters, and insists she take a shower. Though uncomfortable, Michelle complies, but Howard's controlling behavior heightens her unease. During a meal, Howard casually mentions Megan, someone from his past, but offers no details about her absence. When the lights flicker, Michelle suggests it could be a car above them. Howard insists no one is outside. Still doubtful, Michelle confronts him. In response, Howard leads her to the exit door, which has a small window offering a glimpse of the world outside. Through it, Michelle sees a field with decaying pigs, which Howard claims died because of the poisoned air. Suspicious, Michelle notices a truck parked nearby, the same truck she recalls from the night of her car accident. Her mind replays the moments before the crash, and she becomes convinced that Howard was the one who ran her off the road. Later, Emmett shares information about Howard's past. Howard used to work on military satellites before retreating to this farm, where he had Emmett help build the bunker. Michelle tells Emmett her theory that Howard intentionally caused her crash to kidnap her, but Emmett dismisses it. He recalls seeing a massive explosion the day he entered the bunker. Believing Howard's apocalyptic theories, Emmett had fought his way in to survive, injuring his arm in the process. Despite Emmett's account, Michelle remains skeptical. She insists she heard a car above the bunker earlier, but before she can explain further, Howard interrupts and invites them to dinner. At the dining table, Michelle is visibly uneasy, unsure if Howard overheard her suspicions. Emmett lightens the mood with casual conversation, causing Michelle to relax, but this irritates Howard. Growing visibly frustrated with Emmett's jovial behavior, Howard demands silence and insists on eating in peace. Michelle observes Howard's volatile reactions and devises a plan. She starts focusing her attention on Emmett, like flirting subtly to provoke Howard. When she touches Emmett's hand, Howard snaps. He slams the table, corners Michelle, and accuses her of disrespecting him. Emmett tries to defuse the situation but is visibly afraid. While Howard's attention is elsewhere, he secretly swipes his keys and hides them under the table. Suddenly, a loud shot noise from above distracts everyone. Seizing the opportunity, Michelle grabs a bottle and smashes it across Howard's face. She scrambles onto the table and makes a dash for the bunker's exit. Michelle unlocks the first door with trembling hands. Howard, bloodied but furious, chases after her, but she manages to close the door behind her, temporarily locking him out. As she starts to unlock the second door, she spots a car parked outside. Overcome with hope, she calls for help while struggling with the locks. Before she can escape, a woman covered in horrific lesions slams against the window, begging Michelle to let her in. Terrified, Michelle freezes as the woman screams and bangs her head against the glass. Howard catches up and orders Michelle to back away, insisting the air is poisoned and the woman is contaminated. Faced with the horrifying scene, Michelle stops trying to escape and backs away from the door. Afterward, Howard locks Michelle back in the concrete room and finally admits he was responsible for her car crash. However, he claims it was an accident, explaining that he had panicked after hearing news of the attack and was rushing to his bunker. He offers her clean clothes, which he says belong to his estranged daughter, Megan. Later, Howard tells Michelle that the woman outside was Leslie, a former neighbor who may have known about his bunker. He explains that Leslie likely came seeking refuge but was already contaminated by the poisoned air, making it impossible to help her. As the days progress, Howard's behavior grows more controlling and erratic. He begins to assert dominance over the group in subtle but disturbing ways. At one point, the bunker's air filtration system malfunctions, triggering an alarm. Howard quickly takes charge, assigning Michelle to climb into the air ducts and manually restart the system. Despite the tight, claustrophobic space, Michelle follows Howard's instructions and works her way through the vent. She struggles, but eventually reaches the mechanical room where the filtration system is located. After restarting the system, Michelle takes a moment to catch her breath. That's when she notices something unusual, a ladder leading up to a hatch that seemingly opens to the outside. As she inspects the hatch, she notices faint scratches on the window, forming the word "help." The sight sends a chill down her spine. At the base of the ladder, Michelle finds something else, a small earring, bloodied and familiar. She realizes it matches the pair worn by a young woman in a picture Howard had previously shown her, claiming it was Megan. But now Michelle suspects otherwise. The implication is clear. Howard may have done something terrible to Megan. Shaken, Michelle climbs out of the vent and immediately seeks out Emmett. Michelle shows Emmett a photo of Megan wearing the same earring. However, Emmett recognizes the girl in the photo as Brittany, a high school friend of his sister who went missing 2 years ago. Michelle mentions the word "help" scratched inside the bunker. Another photo slips out of Howard's book, showing him and Brittany together. Michelle realizes Brittany is wearing the same shirt she has on. Emmett devises a plan to confront Howard and get him to confess what happened to Brittany. Michelle questions who Howard would confess to since it's just the three of them in the bunker. Howard interrupts their discussion, instructing Michelle to take a shower. While in the bathroom, Michelle stares at the shower curtain and begins to formulate a plan. Later, she shows Emmett a sketch she drew on a magazine, convincing him to follow her lead. That night, Emmett sneaks a pair of scissors from the kitchen and manipulates Howard into believing Michelle contaminated the bathroom after repairing the air filtration system. To sanitize, Howard discards the shower curtain, but Michelle secretly retrieves it. Using scavenged materials, Michelle begins crafting a makeshift hazmat suit to search for help outside. During a board game, Emmett's nervous behavior raises Howard's suspicions. As Michelle continues working on the suit, Howard barges in, forcing her to quickly hide it. Later, the trio moves a barrel of acid to Howard's room, with Howard explaining its potency in dissolving biological matter, including humans. Growing paranoid, Howard accuses them of tampering with his tools. Emmett lies, claiming he stole them to make a weapon to impress Michelle. He apologizes, but Howard shoots him in the face without warning. Howard consoles a horrified Michelle, claiming Emmett would have hurt her, and orders her to her room while he disposes of the body. Alone, Michelle mourns Emmett, finding his ID and a bus ticket to the university he never reached. Determined to honor his sacrifice, she continues building the hazmat suit. When Howard calls her for dinner, she quickly hides the gas mask in a vent, but a screw falls loose. Howard notices and discovers the partially completed suit under her mattress. Enraged, he drags her off the bed and confronts her. Michelle locks Howard in the room and searches for a way out. Grabbing a chemical coolant from his supplies, she fights back, tipping the barrel of acid onto him. As he screams in agony, she escapes. The acid ignites a fire, triggering alarms. Michelle retrieves the hazmat suit and mask as Howard, half-burnt, staggers toward her. She topples a shelf on him and escapes into the vents. Howard chases her, stabbing through the vent and grabbing her ankle, but she kicks free. In the mechanical room, Michelle finishes sealing her suit and uses the coolant to freeze the exit's padlock. After several attempts, she breaks it and climbs outside. Above ground, Michelle takes in her surroundings. She spots Howard's old truck and gets inside, but accidentally tears the suit. Panicking, she seals it with duct tape. Birds flying overhead catch her attention, making her realize the air might not be poisoned. She removes her mask cautiously, and nothing happens. Relieved, Michelle laughs, but a distant rumble interrupts her joy. Climbing atop the truck, she sees an aircraft in the distance. From a nearby shed, something stirs. Thinking it's Howard, she hides, but the shed explodes. The aircraft turns toward the explosion, revealing itself as alien. Michelle hides in the truck, searching for keys, then moves to Leslie's car, setting off its alarm. Inside the shed, she finds Leslie's body and retrieves the keys while an alien creature prowls nearby. The creature approaches the shed, but Michelle shuts off the alarm to divert its attention. She escapes to a nearby house as the alien gives chase. Michelle sees the alien ship release gas, causing an explosion. She frantically seals her mask just in time. The explosion stuns the creature, giving her a moment to reach the truck. As she tries to drive, the alien attacks, pulling the truck into the air. With no escape, Michelle finds a lighter and a bottle of liquor. She creates a Molotov cocktail, throwing it into the creature's mouth. The alien explodes and the truck crashes back to the ground. Dazed but alive, Michelle climbs out and finds Leslie's car still functional. Driving off, she accidentally knocks over a mailbox labeled 10 Cloverfield. On the car radio, a broadcast directs survivors to Baton Rouge while calling for assistance in Houston to fight the alien threat. At a crossroads, Michelle decides to head to Houston to help. And that's how the movie ends. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more videos.